African Americans are 33% divorces per year per 1,000 married residents. Compared to all the other demographics, we're the highest.
That's terrible.
Yes, Hispanic women were 22%, white women 19%, Asian women 11%. Now, this one right here is what bothers me the most, right? It says almost 70% of divorces initiated by women, 30% by men. And it says, surveys show that such disparity results from women's high and later unmet expectations of emotional support from men. And so we know, like, they used to say finance was the reason, money was the reason that caused most divorces. Now they're saying it's what? Irreconcilable differences. Something like that. People just saying, I'm not happy. I'm just not happy in my relationship anymore. And we believe marriage is much more than about happiness. And so we always are going to try to encourage people to work it out. What's our saying?
Make it work.
That's it. It sounds, it's simple, but it ain't easy, and we know that. But we just want to encourage to make it easier. All right, I don't even need to read this one. It just makes it sound even worse. But I'm not saying this to beat up on women at all, right? Because this is all the statistics talking about women, because women are the majority reason for divorces, right? What it doesn't include is that men stepped out or something, and so women initiated it, or it doesn't say anything about what the men did. So I'm not saying like all these divorces are because of women, but this is just what the statistics show. We just want to do better within our community. We want to encourage better, and I don't ever plan on getting divorced. Once I get married, it's death do us part. That's it. All right, so welcome. Say it again.
The body bag.
Period. All right, so welcome to What Did You Hear Me Say? It's AJ.
And Dar. Here we are, deep skydiving.
Skeep diving.
Skeep skydiving.
Yeah.
Deep skydiving, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Deep Sky.
Oh, she got go ahead.
I don't know. That's
Go ahead,
not
do it
really.
again. I missed it.
I don't have much more than that.
Oh, all right.
So, deep skydiving.
Deep skydiving. So, this session here, that's the subtitle. Am I stewarding my relationship well? And so, God gave me this probably about 2 weeks ago, because He's just been dealing with me on stewardship, everything in life, relationship, money, my body, health, everything, where I talk all that. And so, the selfish always loses. Can you hit the next one for me, please? All right, so this is a clip from our podcast that we're about to show, and we're going to that. And I have learned, like, AJ, it's not that important. Like, let it go. Mo told me, he was like, man, one thing I learned about marriage is we have to be wrong. Mm-hmm. Like, we have to be willing to be wrong for the sake of the relationship. Mm-hmm. And I was like, got it. What have you learned, though, about yourself?
I've learned that the relationship is more important than even my peace. And just being able to, because I want to be heard, being able to hear. Mm-hmm. Like even understanding the things that you don't say. Like example, like yesterday you weren't gonna say anything back to me, and I just came back with something, and I was like, because I knew you weren't gonna say anything else, and I was like, yeah, and I was like, well, because at the end of the day,
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, again, it's not about me being right? It's about us being in a right relationship. So I just basically was like, okay, here, like, I want you to know, like, I don't mean anything harmful. I just want to make it right. Like, let's do this, da-da-da-da-da. And I can see, like, instantly that you were like, okay, well, I'm turned back on, because it was like, you was like, da-da, like, you kept coming back with things. And I was like, okay, this is good, because I opened him back up. Because he was about to shut all the way down. And it's okay, because I feel like you have to acknowledge that you have triggered somebody, or you have said something, or you're being impossible in your conversation. Because sometimes I know that I can be impossible in my conversation. And that's hard for people to really, so that's hard for people to really say aloud because it doesn't feel good to say that about yourself.
Or
you can say that
recognize.
about somebody else, right? Or recognize. You can't say that usually about yourself. So I've learned that.
And I don't. She remembers what the conversation. Do you remember what it was? I don't remember what the conversation was. So just a little backdrop of what we're talking about.
So I believe that was a conversation that we were having in regards to, I think, it was about Black women, and that was a Black women and white men or something like that. It was a woman who was interviewing a white man, and he was talking about how Black men, you remember now?
Oh, yeah.
How Black men weren't powerful, and how if they were competing with anybody,
Yeah.
they were competing with Black women. And I think, I don't know I think I didn't understand you, and what I started to do was I started to use sarcasm. And AJ and I talk about all the time how sarcasm is the language of pain. Usually when we use sarcasm, we have a defense mechanism up. Like, we're literally trying to hurt the other person before we are able to explain ourselves. And so when I use sarcasm, he shut down. He was like, not about to say anything else. And I knew it, because I knew I was using sarcasm, because it's something that rises up in me. I don't know if y'all ladies feel that too. Like, whenever I'm about to get cute, I feel it, because I feel bothered. So now I have to bother you because I'm bothered. And I knew that that's what I was doing. So when he got quiet, I came back with something. I don't remember if it wasn't an apology, but it was definitely me opening up the door to more conversation, because I knew that I was being, I was shutting down. And he said something about it. He said, I'm learning from you. And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, you got sarcastic with me, and I could tell, so that's why I wasn't going to feed into that. I wasn't going to keep that fire burning. Because of course he could have been sarcastic back, but he was just like, he just shut it down. So in this clip, I was just talking about how, sometimes you have to lend that olive branch and say to your significant other, or a man, or even on the men's side, a woman, hey, here, like, I ain't trying to hurt you. I'm not fighting you. Like, this is a problem that we want to solve, or this is something I want to understand. So you can and having a conversation.
So what happened was, I knew that she was getting sarcastic, and like she said, I said, I'm not going to feed into that. And so when she reached back out, it was probably 6-8 minutes later or something, she texts back. I knew that was her, because I know Dara, I know her personality, I know she's not like malicious on purpose. And she told me something, like she said, sarcasm is the language of the hurt. So me knowing her, knowing she's not a malicious person, knowing like we're friends, like she ain't my enemy. When she reached back out, I was like, all right. I thought about it. My mind said, man, I'm not saying nothing back. I'm just gonna like the message and go on. But I was like, all right, nah, because that's me playing my part in our relationship, with us being in right relationship. And today is just about selfishness and how it hurts the relationships, because that's exactly what that was. Like, that's replying in sarcasm. It's a selfish thing, because my feelings was triggered about something, and it's like a lash out. And it would have been selfish of me just to not even respond and be like, nah, this is dead right here. And so what we have here, I know y'all see the cards on the table. Not yet. We got the cards on the table, and we're going to start the little restorative justice model when we go around. Who want to start? Y'all, I know y'all don't know what's coming up, but who volunteers to start it off? Why you? All right, so we're going to spin the bottle then. Shoot. All right. You. You got to start it off. And so what we have here is we got 4 deck of cards. When she goes to the next screen, it's going to show you some personality traits, right? The one that is you the most, that is the card you're going to pick up. They're number 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the one you're going to pick up, and you're going to leave it face down. Don't look at it. I mean, it really don't matter if you look at it, but just don't for the time being. All right, can y'all open up a little bit? We got some late bloomers coming in the building. All right, real quick, what's y'all names?
Ronald.
Tamika and Ronald. I thank y'all for attending. We have a NDA we need y'all to sign before we continue, please. You can read it, or you can trust Dara. She drafted it. I know.
Rama see me every other week, so.
Y'all want to quickly introduce yourselves? Tamika, Ronald, how long y'all been together? Where you married, dating, single?
Yes,
Married.
All right.
15 years celebrated.
Beautiful.
Married.
Uh-oh, new OGs.
18 years together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
3 children. Working at government agency for 28 years.
So that thing right there, because of what you just said, just as a consent, meaning that this is being recorded.
Say it again?
Yes.
That's what that. Yeah, that's what that paper is. Because you said government agency. I ain't want you to go deep. Like, yeah, I work for CIA. I was in Iraq and.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Where we're at right now is. These are just some personality traits. They're number 1 through 4. These cards are also number 1 through 4. Whichever one is you the most, that's the card you're gonna pick up.
Oh, I got dig through.
You ain't gotta dig. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, my bad. Did y'all know that was 4? I hope y'all did. Process of elimination. All right. All right. So I'm gonna read it for the mic. Number 1 says you prefer to initiate things, take the lead. 2 says you're methodical, tactful. Number 3 says you're supportive, and number 4 says you're adjustable. Now, I did not give you I just said which one you feel is you the most, not which one you feel is you in the relationship, not which one you feel is you at work. I wanted whatever came to mind about yourself, because I want y'all to be just completely true and honest with this. She done switched up. Oh, he. All right, so look. No, because so this is how you feel, what you believe about yourself. Just be honest, not what you want to be, but just be honest with yourself. Now, I'm gonna put this disclaimer out for sake of the activity. Now, this is not you can change it if you want. You can change it if you want. So this is not like a definitive thing. I want y'all to understand this is just for the sake of the activity so that we can consider ourselves and consider how we are in our relationship. Dang, does anybody else want to change? Goodness gracious.
I'm good with mine.
All right, so look, this is what I want you to do. Keep this one in your left hand. Can you hit the next one for me? Now, these are, you see, those were positive traits. These are negative traits. So, which one is you the most? You pick that card up. Out of your negative traits, which one is you the most? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get one for the first one. You want to get one, Dar? I know. So my negative trait, it's tough. Which one is you the most, right? Look, I didn't even do it. I said I'm gonna do this with y'all, so I don't even know. I'm a little bit of all of them, bro.
No, I'm good.
Huh? Whichever one is you the most. All right. So what's happening here is you got 3 and 4, right? Somebody's playing a team sport. Somebody's playing a individual game. Like Tunk and poker is like every man for themselves, right? It's like playing tennis or something versus playing football. And so I put adjustable for Tunk because, with Tunk it ain't. You could switch up, do whatever. You doing whatever you can just for you to win. Now it can work well with teams and everything, but it's just how I did. That's why I say it's not really declarative. Don't take it personally. But what we want to do is we want to really dig into our relationships and see how, at any point in time, are we speaking different languages? How are we not working together? I don't want to hear. You can tell us the good, but we want to hear about what can be improved. So if you see he's playing spades, you're playing Tunk, I want you to elaborate how that is working against y'all. Like at any point in time in y'all relationship, do you feel like we ain't on the same page? I'm talking Spanish. I'm talking English. He talking Spanish or something. You get what I'm saying? Hey, it's on.
Okay, my name is Kim again. I picked supportive, number 3, because
You picked 3.
I did.
I thought you said he picked adjustable.
No, he picked adjustable.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yes, I picked supportive because I am supportive. Like, you could tell me you about to take over the world. I'm like, I'm there for you. I'm there. I'm right there supporting everything you do. Like, it was something that my husband did do that I was not on one accord with. God didn't give me the same thing he gave him, but it's not supposed to be like that sometimes. And I still was like, okay, I'm going home. What we got to do? What you want me to do? What you need me to do? You gonna quit your job? Okay, let me put this over here, this, that, third, so you can go to school, so you can do what you wanted to do. But deep down, I was just like, this is not gonna work. Lord, I don't know how we gonna do this. Like, somebody gonna have to get on the corner, something's gonna happen. I'm about to be a plus size stripper or something, Lord, something. But I didn't show him that. I still was supportive because as a wife, he's supposed to take the lead all the time. You're supposed to submit and be supportive. So that's exactly what I did. But I'm supportive in everything. Like I was telling my young friend over here that I'm working with my sister. She has her own Montessori school. I don't want to work with children anymore, but I'm there every day from sun up to sundown, supporting her in her dream. So that's why I pick supportive.
It's good, 2.5. Remember, y'all get 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
the couples.
You pick supportive, right?
Adjustable. My name is Van, once again. For me, being adjustable is just basically being able to adapt to my whatever environment that I'm gonna go into. It's just more so like I've been put in situations to where I had to just adjust and not be comfortable where I was at. Like I had to literally just like, you know what, all right, cool. I gotta do this. This what I'm gonna do. Like she said, it was certain things that I had said that I didn't want to do, but I knew it had to be done. It was one major thing that because we were both entrepreneurs, so it came to a point, both of us, I had came to a conclusion that both of us had to do it, but it was to a point we were like, okay, we want to get jobs. It really, the same looks. It really like stirred something with us because I'm looking at it from a standpoint like, all right, we got bills, everything's stacking up, like the world opening back up, we need to get some money in the household. It kind of stirred it kind of brought a whole disturbance in the household. So I knew that I had to adjust to how she was feeling and be like, you know what, I'll go out. I have to do this because I'm the head of the household. So I went out and I adjusted and made that move that I had to make for us. And it kind of trickled down and kind of followed. So now we're in a better place and growing from there.
So I got a hold on anything? I'm Ronald Smulat. I picked adjustable. I think my reasoning for picking adjustable is based on a lot of past trauma or past issues that I brought into our relationship. So I feel as though I have the ability to adapt and adjust to any situation or to whatever it is that my wife need me to adapt and adjust to, whether I agree with it or not. And it has a lot to do with, just my personal feelings towards myself. Like, for example, who the hell am I to complain about anything when I put her through hell, you know what I'm saying, in the past. So but I'm able to adjust anyway. I've always was like that kid that, ain't really had much. So I always had to adjust and adapt to, my circumstances. You just play the hand that you dealt, pretty much. And it's, I don't know. It's not, I don't look at me being adjustable as the crazy thing about it. I don't look at it as being a positive, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at it as being a positive. Just because sometimes you don't really want to adjust. Sometimes you kind of forced to do it. So even though, we may say, hey, I'm a chameleon. I can adapt to any type of environment. I could sit at any type of table. Doesn't always necessarily mean that it's a positive trait. You know, sometimes it's forced. You know, with the way our life structured, my wife is extremely busy. She has her hands in multiple pots. She's a community servant, a community leader. She's a program developer. She's a mentor to children. She's a mentor to seniors. So as her spouse, I know she's pulled in a whole bunch of different directions. So, you know, I may want to go out on a date, but she might got a program. So I got to adjust to the fact that I got to share her with a lot of people. I kind of was jealous at first. I thought I get 5 minutes. Together. Oh, we get 5 minutes together. Oh, okay. So yeah. So that's it. I got to yield to the missus, cause I go in. Yeah, I go in.
I'll leave some space for it. My name is Tamika, and I chose number 1.
Definitely.
And typically, you know, I do initiate things. If I see there's a need, that's with work, even home, I just initiate and take lead. So that definitely speaks to even with us. And sometimes it's aggravating sometimes, because sometimes you're like, well, why don't you decide sometimes? So, but most of the time, yeah, I take the lead.
You're smarter than me, though. And you make better decisions than I do.
That's not always true.
But I'm just being honest.
That's not always true.
But that's how I feel.
Okay.
I feel like you make better
There's
decisions.
still
than I
growth, right? It's still time.
do. Oh, she passed it back to me?
You can. You want to take a minute?
We got a minute left.
You had more to say?
Nah,
Okay.
I'll just real quick, Dara. I actually saw 2 that were me, and it makes sense because they're both red cards. They're both the individualistic cards, methodical, tactful, and adjustable. But I'm like you, Ronald. Sometimes I don't want to adjust, but I just have been like reared that way. Like I'm usually the one who I don't feel like anything is that, you know, serious for me to lose everything for. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'll just kind of move the way I need to move. And I think it also has a lot to do with the fact that I work with a lot of people, and I know everybody's different, right? At the end of the day, I know who I am, but it doesn't bother me that other people are themselves. So I'm able to adjust in that sense, so.
Joaquin. So I put 1, prefer to initiate things and take lead. A lot of that just has to do with like how I was raised. Like I was always on the opposite spectrum. So like my father had custody of 3 kids, and like my mom wasn't around. So like I would just witness my father go through this stuff, and it was like, all right, so this is how I have to do it, right? Like he's out working, all right. Well, you know, when it's my time, I got to be able to work. I got to be able to hold things down. So I don't know. It was a learned behavior, and I think because like my mom wasn't around, it was just my father like really raising us. He poured into me differently, so that like if there was ever a situation where, you know what I mean, I was married or I had to provide or things like that, that like I wouldn't second guess things or things like that. And plus, I think he conditioned me to do stuff like that. So he would do things like, hey, I got to go to work, because he worked at night, and he would say things like, the food's there, you got to prepare it. Like there's food in the refrigerator, but you got to get you something to eat, you know, that type of stuff. So I don't know. I think I was just raised to take the lead and raised to initiate things.
I'm Chanel. Initially, I picked adjustable, but I was thinking that's not true, because even Joaquin will tell me, like, you just want to do it your way. So, you know, I'm not really adjustable, but I feel like I am. I feel like supportive and adjustable go together. So in the end, I ended up picking supportive, because I found that role is easier for me. Methodical and tactful just seemed like just so manipulative in there with it, and that wasn't really me. And then prefer to initiate, I'm like so lackluster. Okay, if you want to, or
How does those traits affect y'all relationship? How does it work for y'all in y'all relationship?
oh, if you go to 2, that's where they affect our relationship. Like I instantly told Joaquin, you're picking 1, right? I know you're gonna pick 1 because that's who he is. And I always tell him I usually say it as a dig, but like whatever it is, either the sun circulates around the whatever, how, I'm like, you're the planet, I'm the sun, I rotate around you, whatever you need, well, whatever. But that's how I feel. Like I just rotate around whatever his needs are. So I'm supportive.
Yes, they got 2 half.
Oh, you wanna?
No, you fine.
We're good.
Justin, I chose methodical and tactful. When I look at the word methodical, I correlate it to purposeful. This is my very first relationship, right? So, that'd be 26 next week, or week after next. And being in my first relationship for almost 2 years, I was so happy to be in it that I figured out that I was also in a space of complacency, just because I was just content with being in the relationship. So being methodical, being purposeful, I've had to adjust to not just thinking about myself and thinking about, oh, you're in it, you'll be in it, you're good. I have to be purposeful to keep her engaged, to keep our relationship, the fire, I got to keep the embers lit. And so everything I do with her, for her, has to be done with purpose. And yeah.
Gracias. Do you have to click something? Okay, no. Jelani, I picked supportive. And kind of like Joaquin, my familial background kind of forced me into like the supportive role. I grew up with a single mother, younger brother and stuff like that. So, and I was the eldest in the house. I have older siblings, but I was the eldest in the house. And I wasn't really receiving that support from my mother. So then I kind of said, well, I don't want to be like my mother. I want to be better than what she was. So then I kind of took the role of supporting everybody who comes into my life. So that could be broken souls, that could be people coming whole or whatever the case may be. So when Justin showed up, before, I get to really, I delve deep into someone, I just sit back, observe, and really listen to what they're saying. And so I'm listening to Justin's story, and I'm like, damn, like, this dude really don't have no support from nobody. He's telling me about his acting career. He wants to be a voice actor and stuff. And I'm like, well, why aren't you doing it? Like, get out there. He don't got no friends that's telling him go. He don't have no family telling him go. And I'm like, nah, do it. Like, you could do this. So I feel like for me, that could be a good and a bad thing, right? Like, I could be supporting people so much where I'm draining myself. Or I could be supporting people so much where it's like propelling them, but then, I'm losing fire and pouring out of my cup. So I think supportiveness is like kind of like a balance here. You have to really have that balance when supporting people, know when to like take a step back and say, okay, listen, I can support you from a distance or I'm going to just be all in. So that's me. Oh, we?
I had some more to say. Lil, you funny. I said young man. Oh, all right. I thought you said little man. Nah, so for me, I thought you was, I was just going to cut you up a little bit. I thought you were trying to get me. It's cool. For me, I'm going to be honest. I pick one, prefer to initiate things and take the lead because that's just who I am. But just being real, first, I was 26 when I had my first real relationship too, Justin. I had other ones that girls made themselves my girlfriends, but I ain't never really consider it. But just me being intentional with a woman, I was 26. Now, I prefer to initiate things and take the lead. That's just my personality. One, I'll admit it's because I do have a little bit of selfishness. And if I feel like something is just like stupid or it does not need to be done this way or it's just not going to be effective, we don't even need, like, God had to convict me to tell me, like, look here, if it's not your idea, you still do it as if it was yours. But just me innately, like, my personality, like, I'm determined to get something done. I'm determined to get us there. And I understand that, like, being a pilot, taking the lead, the pilot is the one to get you to the destination, It ain't It ain't the air traffic control driving the plane. It ain't the stewardess and none of that. It's the one who driving. And that I just prefer to be that. My character is just going to do that because I don't want to fail, and because I'm a people person too. I don't want to see you fail. Like, I'm the type of person that if you ride in the car with me and it's late night, I'm gonna do everything I can so I don't fall asleep and crash this car and then both of us die or whatever. Now, because you know, if I die, cool, but if you die, then it's like I never forgive myself. Now, where I failed at in my relationships, I can admit this, is I did not be myself with that. Like, I always tried to try to be adjustable, like over considering and everything. And I realized in my last relationship, just sitting here thinking about it, that's not, and she said this a couple times to me, like, that's not, she wanted me to take the lead. She wanted, like what you said, she wanted me to take the lead, and even in her endeavors. And I kept telling her, like, man, I don't do that. That's what you do. I'm here to support you in this. She's like, I don't want you to support. I want you to lead me. I want you to, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And I just didn't do it. And I realized I failed her in that because I just wasn't being my full self. I wrote something on here too, just listening to y'all. And y'all could address it if y'all want to. If you don't, it don't matter. But y'all's was adjustable and supportive, right? And so I was just questioning, like, who's leading? Like, when y'all can answer this, I'm not attacking your relationship, but that's just a real question I had because I heard you say, like, at sometimes you're the man, I want you to lead. And I guess what I'm asking is, because just because he's supportive, you was adjustable. Just because he's adjustable doesn't mean he can't lead. Like, he can lead and be adjustable. Like, and I heard that in what you were saying, as in, this is what needed to be done. So I went ahead and did it, and then she fell in line. So that's good. But my question was just like, who's leading, like taking initiative, and is it helping? Well, it's gonna get there. Okay. It's gonna get there. I got a minute. And and for y'all, because it seems like y'all matched up perfectly also, where you was adjustable and she was take the lead. And then I heard you say some things like you want him to take the lead, like there's room for growth and everything. But it seemed like it worked so well. Like, you the one that's busy, he the one supporting. Doesn't mean that he's not the head of the relationship. It means that I understand who I am in my best me, and I understand who you are in your best you. And this is just how it's working out. It doesn't mean like we're out of order or anything. But I just had a question, like, because I know women want, like, you want your man to take the lead or anything. But if it never looked like that, would that be an issue? And you don't have to answer that now. That's just a question that I had raised. And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, this is AJ, by the way.
This is Sinatra. So I have prefer to initiate things and take lead. My first choice was adjustable, but I had to realize that being adjustable is who I am aiming to become. But I still am that person even before me realizing that this is who I'm becoming, if that makes any sense at all. But initiating things and taking lead is just me. I am a pre-K teacher. I'm bossing kids around all day, you know. But it also wasn't my first choice because it didn't seem positive to me when I first saw it. When I saw it up there, I was like, eek. You know, as the woman in the relationship, in the marriage, I know that my man is supposed to, you know, take lead. So that's why I said the adjustable part is who I'm becoming, because I do realize that. But a lot of taking lead has to also do with the way that I was brought up. My father, more so my father, my mom, she held my hand a lot, but my father did not. And he showed me, like, all right, this is how you do it. Now you on your own. So I feel like that's how it worked for me. So now I feel like, all right, my son is going to learn this way too. And, you know, he knows how I feel. There is no sugarcoating anything. But we both, you know, we're not perfect, and we both don't know it all. So we're both learning from one another. And there are times where, you know, even being around each other's families, where we'll hear them admit, oh yeah, I didn't do that for him, or my mother and father saying, well, I didn't do that for her. So now it's like, all right, well, let me help.
let me take lead, let me show you, you know, but in a positive way. You know, it's not to beat him down, belittle him, or in any type of way. I ask him, you know, or I suggest, I say, hey, you know, this is another way that, you know, we can do things. Or sometimes it's like, I do hear a guy and he'll be like, you know what, lead by example, you know, in some ways, especially, you know, our spiritual lives and stuff, you know. But, yeah, that's, let me see, I wrote some things down. And he's not high maintenance. So it's like, it's easy for me to initiate things. So if that could be looked at in a positive way. Yeah. There you go.
You done? I'm Kendall. So I chose adjustable. So for me, I'm just a laid back kind of guy. And you know, I do take lead for sure. Like I lead my household, but my life is crazy, so I do a lot of different things as well. So I'm all over the place. So that's why I rely on her to do a lot of the kind of like home stuff for us, and it just works out, right? So growing up, my dad wasn't around too much because he was working, so I just learned life kind of on my own. You know what I mean? So whether it's just like women, how to talk to women, you know, the whole sex thing, I learned that on my own. I learned how to do how to be a man came from kind of me and then my uncle. My dad came later, so that's where my adjustable style comes from, because I learned on the fly. So yes, I do agree with you. It can be a negative, but that's just how I am. That's just who I am as a man. And it's been, like I said, it's been working for us. I'm not high maintenance at all. You know, whatever she said, like whatever you want to cook, you cook, or you know, whatever. As long as the house is run and we're not at war, I'm happy. So that's just what it is. Do you want to answer his question?
What? Yes, we want to answer your question. And so this is Kim. To AJ's question, in the beginning of our relationship, I was the lead. I definitely was, only because, like, I'm forgetting, Jelani, I was raised in a one-parent household, my mom, and my mom was like a superwoman to me. So I was just like, I'm going to be like my mom when I get over. And knowing her now that I'm 37, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. My mom is it's my way or the highway person. You're going to do what I say. When I say you're going to do it, you're going to eat, you're going to sleep. I do not want to be that way. So in the relationship, before we got married, my husband told me, you don't listen to me. And I was like, what? If I don't listen to you, why you want to marry me then? And he's like, you don't listen to me in the way of, I'm asking you not to do something and you're still doing it, as far as paying a bill or buying him something or buying me something. And he's like, you're always taking the lead. And I said, oh, snap. I was like, Lord, like, change me, because I'm so used to it. I've been on my own. I've been paying my own bills. I've been making my own money. And now we're about to be one. God, change me. That was my prayer. And so I've always been supportive, though. Always. No matter what it is, who it is, I'm always supportive. It could be a stranger on the street. Man, I like how you put that outfit together. Keep that up. That is me. But in the beginning, when my husband told me, you don't listen to me, and we were not even about to get married. We were like 2 months from our wedding. And he said that. I was still defensive. Oh, bye, you can go. He said I put him out, and I don't remember it. I really don't. He said, you told me I can leave. And I was like, well, bye then, go then, whatever. And, okay, he's our brother. He's our best friend, whatever. And we really had to call our spiritual family that has been married for 20 plus years to guide us through it, because we were both hot-headed. And I was not trying to hear what he was saying because I had that lead mentality. So now I am I'm still supportive, always supportive, and I allow my husband to lead. When you want to lead, baby, go on lead. He wanted to go to Royal Farms, so let's go to Royal Farms. That's what we're going to eat. So that's how we are.
This Van again. Basically, when I say I'm adjustable, like the way I was raised, my mom, like kind of like her mom, my mom is always like has to be in front of everything. So it was kind of like I had to be like, all right, mom, all right, I'm gonna just go that way wherever you go. You go left, I'm gonna go left. So it was more to a point I was used to that. And when it comes to us, it can be either or. It's been times where we both actually take lead, and I don't mind sitting back. It's times where I'll take lead, and she's fine with that. That's what she wants. She really wants me just to be lead all the time. It's no adjusting or anything, but I'm able to adjust to the fact that if it's to a point in our relationship where if she had to take lead, I'm gonna adjust to it. If I got to take lead, I'm able to adjust and do that as well because of my background and how my mom was like very stern and having everything organized, just showing me how to be more of raising me as a man, and having my stepfather as well, helping me become that lead and showing me how to become a leader in the household. But that's why I say I'm kind of working my way towards taking lead, but as of right now, it's still as a point of us being adjustable in our relationship.
You gotta repeat the question for me. What was that? Just Ronald.
Oh no, I was saying it sounded like when y'all was talking, y'all worked well. Like you were saying you was adjustable. She was saying you said you was adjustable. She said she preferred to take lead. It sounded like it worked well. Like you said, she's real busy. She's active in the community, doing the things she do, and you know how to adjust. Like I realized I got to share my wife in the community, this and that, such and such. But she was saying, I wish you would take the lead sometimes.
Yeah.
And I understand that not all, like leading doesn't always mean I'm making all the decisions and everything. Leading could be, I understand who you are and this is your position. I understand who I am and this is what works well for our relationship, because what we about is being in right relationship and utilizing your personality, optimizing your personalities to work well into this relationship. So my question was, like, is that, because she asked that question, I'm like, do you see that as something wrong, or what's wrong with the dynamic as it is?
Well, I'll answer and then I'll let you go ahead. This Ronald. I think understanding and knowing my wife, the reason being is, to be honest, we just became a married couple 3 years ago. We've been married 15 years. We've been together 18 years. I just grew up 3 years ago, right? I just matured to be the husband and the support system that she needed, that she always knew I should be, could be. So, her saying that there's always room for growth. And then a lot of my adjustability came because I was doing, are we allowed to express ourselves freely? Okay. And part of my, me being always willing to be adjustable is because a lot of shit that I did, it was like, well, I can't not be supportive or adjustable to whatever she need, and I'm out here ripping and running and doing all type of dumb shit, and then when she asks me to do something, I'ma have the audacity not to do it, you know what I'm saying, or not to adjust. So the room for growth part is, yeah, we still growing and evolving as a couple, but she's exactly who I'm supposed to be with. Like, God placed her in my life to save my life, because I'm listening to everybody talk, and I ain't had none of the shit y'all had. None of it. You know what I'm saying? And my father wasn't in my life, and he lived 10 minutes away from me. Wasn't in my life. My mom was a single mom, battled certain things. She didn't have a drug addiction or anything like that, but she had addiction to men. You know what I'm saying? So as a 12-year-old, 11-year-old child, I was forced to run my mother's household. I was forced to raise my sisters. I can remember a time where I would get up to go to school. I'm in high school, and I look over my brother who was just born on the couch. I don't know where my mother at. So I can't go to school. And when she was placed in my life, everything that I needed to assist me in becoming a man, like I've been growing. She's been assisting me and being supportive for me and actually growing and developing into, you know, a real man. Because the shit that I used to do, ripping and running the streets, I did 7 years in federal prison. You know what I'm saying? Me and my wife got together as soon as I came home from jail, but we grew up together. We've known each other since we were in high school. But, you know, the room for growth part is just because, you know, I'm still growing, I'm still evolving as a man, as a father, and I battled with alcohol addiction for years that I've overcome. Amen. So. It was how do our dynamic work? You know
No, because you actually, reason why this is Tamika, because some of the stuff you said I was going to, you know, kind of bring up that we kind of, you know, recently kind of jailed together, as you said. So, you know, I just now kind of push him to say, you know, lead some time and, you know, do so. He do initiate time to time. But some stuff that we still working on, like, you know, the kids in the house, make them do certain things, you know. I come and like, for real? And that's all y'all did. But so there's that room to grow right there. Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, because he was partying here and there, and I was holding it down, make sure the kids did doing my thing, and, you know, working to get this part, I was like, dang, is this real? It took a minute to adjust to. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, dang. He go get the kids, pick them up, take them to school. Oh, yeah, have your way, be that super dad. And that's how it been. So, yeah, that's what we are.
Yeah, this Joaquin, I just want to say, that's awesome, man, that y'all stuck it out. Because some people would have quit and gave up. You know what I mean? Like, that's beautiful to see.
I just say this because y'all had me think about some things when you talk about your parents, right? And so I know my mother. My mother is like the supportive. She's a 3, hands down. And my father passed when I was 8 in 1996. Thank you. So she was forced into that lead role, right? But that's not who she is at all. Like, my mother was 100% like a supportive person. And so I had nobody to really cultivate my personality. Like the personality, that leadership personality in me, it comes from my father. My mother tell me all the time, like, this is who your father was and everything. So I really ain't have no man to cultivate this thing in me, to teach me how to operate in that, like you were saying. So I had to kind of pick things from people that I seen, like traits that I was like, I like that. That's what I want to exemplify. And no lie, all the way up to about 22 years old, 21, 22 years old, like that's when I realized I got it all wrong. I had masculinity all wrong. I had decision making all wrong. But it worked for me up until that age, and then I ran into some real men who showed me, like, this is what it means to be a man, and this is how you operate as a leader, as an honorable person. I ain't even care about being honorable at the time, but because I was raised by my mother, who was a supportive person, and I'm the lead person. Even now in my relationship with my mother comes to me for things. She said, AJ, what you think about this? I want to do this. I want to do this. Can you help me do this? And I'm be like, why you come? You my mother. Why you? But I realized who she is the supportive person, and she realizes who I am. She like, you your father's son. Like, I trust you with the decisions to make. I trust you to lead this. And that's why I said I failed in my other 2 relationships, because I didn't just be my full AJ, yeah, who I'm supposed to be in it. So if y'all had anything, when we get back to Kim and Van, what I want to do is I want you to choose which one is least like you, right? And what I want you to do is tell how that hurts your relationship. Like the one that's least like you, explain how that hurts your relationship because you don't operate in that enough, if that makes any sense.
Are we allowed to ask all person?
Y'all just, you use your 5 minutes how you want to. If y'all want to start, you can
Are
go.
we starting with this, or are we going with? Because I don't think you got anything you want to say on that. So we can start with them, or it doesn't.
Oh, you can start right here. If y'all don't have nothing else y'all want to do, yeah.
Wait, but you still want us to do the lease?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to start off from the first part saying that I feel like I am all of them, but least I can't.
You don't see how you black in a relationship at all.
Not at all. Literally,
Or
not
you
at
know
all. Not at all. Not at all. Because my tactic is to always pray about it. That's the first thing that I do. I mean, if I complain about it, I ask God to forgive me. But for the most part, those are things that I feel like I already, come with. I don't really see any, unless you do.
I would agree.
Oh, that's dope.
I would agree. But for me, I would probably say the methodical and tactful. And I'll say that because it's not that I'm not methodical and tactful. It's just out of these, I wouldn't say that it's the least. It's because I kind of live my life off kind of like God's first, and then like He leads me, and then whatever I want to go accomplish, I'll just go after it without any kind of thinking like, oh shit, like I should have thought about this first. I'm more of a big picture kind of thinker, and whatever this little small steps to take to get there, I'm trying to figure out how to skip those steps to get to my bigger picture, right? So I think in that sense, that's me, and yeah, that's what
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Can I emphasize?
Sure.
Okay. I agree because of what he just said. He actually taught me a little bit because I'm such a planner. And like he said, do everything with a purpose. Literally, like it has to make sense to me. Otherwise, I'm like, I don't see it. It's not happening. Why are we doing this? I ask all those questions. But for him, he's like a walk by faith and not by sight. Like, forget all that. Let's just do it. And I'm like, wait, what? So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. This to finish off. I'm sorry. So, the walk by faith and not by sight thing is what I've learned. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the book. That this book literally changed my life, and I say it the whole time. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, right? And if you get a chance to read it, it's literally the book that it's just more about not worrying about the things that you cannot control. And I learned that in college, and in college is where I found myself becoming a man. Learning how to be a man, I learned that in college, and with that, I kind of sometimes I feel like I'm a nomad sometimes, and it's just a lot of stuff going in my head that I got to literally try to do everything. And then when it circle back to the relationship thing, I kind of feel like with me trying to do so much, I kind of lose touch of the family side sometimes, and I try to it's hard for me to circle back. And when I do, I feel like I'm leaving money on the table, or I'm leaving something, relationship to build on the table, or something for me to grow, or for my family to grow. That's how I feel. I'm leaving something on the table, and I kind of got to take the back burner. It's just my mind just always thinking about the next thing, and I kind of feel like I lose touch sometimes. So.
This is Kim. AJ, do you want us to answer your question to us, or do this one?
I thought you already answered.
You said something about our parents.
Oh, no, I was talking about me.
Okay. So, I'm like my girl to the right. I don't see anything that I do the least. Not boasting myself up or anything, but we call each other unicorns because I've never dated anyone like him, and he said he never dated anyone like me. And my brother, our brother, he says it all the time, like, oh my gosh, you guys are a power couple. Our pastor, like, I'm big in church. When I met him, I was still big in church, serving in ministries under the First Lady. And he watched me, just watched me, and he dedicated his life back to Christ. He started serving, and I'm a mime leader. And it was no one in my team anymore because of the pandemic. Everyone dropped off. But I'm just like, I still have a desire to do mime. And the Holy Spirit was like, ask your husband. And I asked him, and he was like, sure. And I was like, what? And so, like, it was that. And our pastor said it on Christmas. You guys are a power couple. You guys are what I want to see more in the church. He was like, my heart's desire is there more couples join your mime ministry and you guys serve, with them, teach them how to love and grow. And I was just like, Lord, we a power couple. We're a power couple. Like that encouraged us to go further. But honestly, I can't say I do least of 1, 2, 3, or 4. Would you agree, husband?
This is fine, and I totally agree. Like, I looked up, like, it's none of those I would say we do the least. Like she said, as far as, and it's funny that she mentioned about her the mind ministry. God put it on my heart. I didn't want before she asked, so I already knew before she asked me. That it was gonna get asked to me. But I was just waiting for that moment for her to ask me that question because I didn't know. But for us, like she said, like even when we were in marriage counseling, even when we were in marriage counseling, our pastor told us like we are in sync. Like when we had questions, we didn't do anything together. He would come, y'all cheated, did y'all? He said y'all did those together. Our answers were so similar that it was like, wow, like y'all did this together. But we're so in sync. And to anybody that saw us, like to all of our congregation at church that saw us mom, they said, you guys were in sync. You guys were literally moving as one, as a unit. So when we hear the words power couple, we don't see it at all. We just are being our genuine selves. Like it's just to a point like with that, like any of the things that did, I don't see any of those like to where we are lacking in it. Like we literally talk to each other, support each other, everything. So for us, it's just having fun and communication and being us. That's all.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. Still got a minute for your wife wants that.
This is Kim. Even in, like he said, in marriage counseling, premarital counseling, I say that, pastor was like, you cheated, da. But it even came to the point where our answer was the same with cheating. What if one of you cheated in your marriage? And we both was like, what, like cheating? We're not cheating. We both said that. And he was like, wait, neither one of you guys thought about cheating? I was like, no, like this is a covenant. We're together forever. We're body bag, period. Like Dara said earlier, we're going out in body bags. Like, and then he brought to our attention, what if one of you cheated and got the person pregnant? And I was like, my God, like, then he's gonna go in a body bag because I'm gonna kill him. Like we were just so in sync, and we really, I can honestly say it's no lack in my husband. I mean, minus the lead. He can lead a smidget more, just a smidget, but everything else falls into play. I always say our relationship is organic. Organic. I love him. This is Kim.
That was beautiful. This Ronald, I can honestly, definitively say that what I lack is the initiation and taking the lead. I'm definitely supportive of my wife with whatever it is that she want to do. I already stated how adjustable I am. I am tactful in the sense that I do think things out, and sometimes I think I overthink them. Sometimes I've become more mindful to not allow the 6 inches between my ears to dominate me so much, and overthinking things, especially when it comes to our relationship. But yeah, definitely not. The thing I lack the most is in our relationship. Let me say that in our relationship is what she needs from me is to take the lead more, not initiate. I initiate shit all the time, but I think I initiate stuff all the time. You know, all the time. But the take the lead approach, and it's more, and the take the lead piece is with the kids. It's with the kids and stuff around. I'm serious. It's with the kids and stuff around the house. Like it's with the kids and stuff around the house that I need to that I know she desires that I take the lead more on. But that's it. Like the initiation thing, man, I got that down pat. You want to say something? The least.
Make sure.
What? I'm just saying.
I'm adjustable. I mean, I'm one of the ones that will have A, B, and C, and D planned out.
No,
Don't go this
we
way.
talking about adjustable
I know,
in our relationship. I mean, he talk them words right there is for the relationship, not daily life. It's for
And
the
in
relationship.
life.
I know, but
I
it's
ain't
for
finished.
it's more so for the relationship.
Are you trying to say I need to be more adjustable?
Huh?
Are you trying to say I need to be more adjustable?
I mean, if you were asking me, I mean, I would say yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's if you asking me though, because I just, you know, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, sometimes I might want to do something, or I might initiate something, and you know, you, man, you. And if you don't want to do it, you ain't gonna do it.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I say if you ask me, because you hella supportive, everything you do is planned out. You know what I'm saying? So
Not
you got the
everything.
methodical and tactical thing down pack of, you know, you a natural leader anyway. So if you was to ask me the like you said, the biggest area or the area that I think we could
But it's
grow on
okay to
together.
say not right now.
Yeah, no,
Or
it's-
not today. Or could we do another day?
yeah,
Or
but if you just say nah, that ain't a you just saying nah. Now if you said, you know, hey, let's revisit that next week, that's being adjustment. But if you say nah, yeah, you say, you know what I'm saying? If you say nah, you know what I'm saying?
okay, adjustable. I guess that's my area to approve. Being adjustable.
Yeah, look at everything else. That's the least thing up there. That's the least thing up there. And I can deal with you telling me no. Because I'm adjustable. It's all about the synergy.
Yeah.
It's all about the, you know what I'm saying?
You don't have nothing to say, huh? This is Dara again. I would say that mine would probably be number one. Prefer to initiate things and take the lead. I'm definitely a supportive cast. I definitely like to take a supportive role. Like I'm background. I don't need to be like on display or whatever. So when I'm in a relationship, that's usually the case. But I find myself because of that being very pushy when it comes to the man who I'm with, because I'm looking for him to take the lead and I just want to support. So I'm always like, if you tell me that you want to be a chef and you're not one when we get together, you gonna be a chef by the time, like, yeah, like that's just how I am. Because my thing is like, well, then why are we talking about it? You know what I mean? Like you have the idea, I'm gonna be the supportive cast. I'm gonna make sure that, you know, you have cooking classes or that people know that you can cook or whatever. Like I'm just that person. So, but as far as like putting, my hand to the plow always just out of the open air, just for something for me. That's not always the case. So I don't know. I guess it can be a positive and a negative. But I think I'm comfortable in this place because ultimately when I do get married, I do want to continue to be that supportive person. I just don't want to be beating him over the head with, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. Instead, just still, I guess, letting him, or him deciding what he wants to do and then moving in the way he moves, and then just me being like, okay, like I like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, you got to do this. So.
This Joaquin, I think for me it's supportive. I can do a better job being more supportive. Life just moves so fast. It feels like, you know what I mean? We got 4 little kids, 10, 8, 5, and 3. And so everything is just like, life is just moving so fast, man, just with like the ministry, church, young men, young women, Bible study, work, wife, kids. I think I could be more supportive, right? And when I mean more supportive, just like checking in, how's she doing? Does she need any help with certain things? I think one thing though is like, sometimes even when I don't agree with how certain things are, I could probably be more supportive, but maybe that's adjustable. Because we got different philosophies at times, right? Like we got different philosophies, and like she does a lot of things with the children that are amazing, right? Some I don't agree with. Like I don't agree how much like coddling she does with them or things like that. But what I realize is that, I have girls, you know what I mean? And so she's probably more fonder in how a girl would communicate with another woman. I'll harden my daughters, like literally harden them. Like, you gotta figure that out. That's on, like you said your father was, like, that's on you. Your homework is on that's on you. You know what I mean? I can be there to help, to check it and stuff like that, but I ain't gonna, you get a 75, you get a 75. She'll work with them till they got it, right? Until they got it, right? And it's like, for me, it's just like, that's great to see, but there's gonna come a period of time where they're not gonna be able to work for you, and that's gonna be the norm. And then you're gonna have to operate. And can you stand on your own when all the chips are out there, right? So that's just a different in philosophies. But even with that, I could probably articulate that a little bit better and come to a common ground. So I'd say supportive. And my wife, she wants me to clean up more at the house and things like that. I'm so tired with everything and things like that. I'm like, hire somebody. Just swipe. Yeah, it's there. Just swipe. Yeah, like we'll get it done. But that's another thing. Like, yeah, but she wants me to do it. She don't want nobody else to do it. She want me to do it. My man, it's getting done. It's getting done. Yeah. Yep.
You had to. Thank you, Chanel here. Okay, let me just adjust the address. I can't even talk the things that you said. I probably do call them a lot, but that goes to my upbringing, I guess. I had to do a lot of things independently. Just for a long time, it was my mom and I before she eventually remarried, but she is dyslexic. So I had to figure out a lot of homework and school things and all that. If I didn't go over my grandma's to help me, I had to do it on my own. So whatever with my girls, I'm like all in. Whatever school I want them, like you can't just depend on beauty. Like you gotta have some brains. Like, so I'm school, whatever, learning, all of that. That's 1,000% with me. Of course, I love Joaquin to be more domestic around the house. But he'll probably say, and I agree, that my lack is in number one in initiating things and taking the lead. I can take the lead with the house. I can initiate with the house and the girls, but I'm not as aggressive like that with him. And not in a bad way. I don't want to dominate him. I love his role, but I'm sure that he would probably like to hear my voice more, or me doing things more intimately and things like that.
Well, say what's in your head.
I said
Say
it.
what you think.
I said it.
Say what you think.
So, but I'm also not a really huggy, lovey kind of person, so that's hard for me. Despite all the children, I'm not that affectionate. I'm not that affectionate, so that's it. Would you agree? I'm sorry, with my number one?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I would say I'm probably the least supportive. Since being with my girlfriend, she is like really blasted this image in my mind that she is so independent. She's done things by herself for so long. She's a hustler, like, hope you don't mind me saying, but when she was in college, like her mom just stopped paying her college, like right in the middle of it. So she had to like hustle and bustle to work her ass off to graduate. And so my girlfriend has like really blasted in my mind that she's so independent in arguments. She's told me she doesn't need me. She doesn't need anybody. She's done everything by herself. And then in the midst of another argument, she breaks down and says, "You don't ask me how I'm feeling. I'm there for everybody. And you don't think like to ask, how is Jelani?" And I think that seeing her and how she is with other people, how supportive she is with other people, and how draining it is and how much it takes her away from me, it has made me envious of those people because they are taking someone who does so much for them for granted. Like she's dealing with some of my dumbass friends that don't need any support whatsoever, but because that's how she is, because that's what she was lacking growing up, it's like I can't sympathize with them because she is. And I just need to recognize that she's doing all this for other people, and I need to be the one that's doing it for her.
Jelani here. I would say adjustable. I'm sure he would agree. For me, I feel like when I think of adjustable, I think of water. And water to me feels just like it's just flowing. Ice. What? It feels like it's just flowing. Water just goes with the flow. And that feels very passive to me. And that is the least thing that I am. So I'm trying, right? I'm trying to be more adjustable. So, I said to him a couple of times, like, I want you to plan stuff. I want you to take the lead. I want you to initiate things. So he's tried, but my crazy whirlwind of a life, there's times where he'll come and be like, "Yo, babe, like, let's just go somewhere." And I'd be like, "Did you pin this in the schedule? Like, did you tell me about this?" Like, Wednesday, he hit me up like, "Oh, I'm going to need you for 3 hours tomorrow." And I was like, "Wait, hold the phone. Like, 3 hours? That's a long time. That's cutting into the schedule." So I feel like I need to, work on being a little bit more adjustable when he's at least trying to do the things that I've asked him to do.
Mind you, it was to see a movie she wanted to see. I just wasn't going to tell her.
He just had to throw that in there. But yeah, so I would say it's that.
Is the time up? I just want to say, she says something about adjustables like water. This woman, you are more like ice. It depends on the state of that water. The physical state of of your water is ice because it's just solid, unmoving. Anyway.
She's trying to melt some, right?
I acknowledge that, absolutely. Shit, all right. I acknowledge that she is, making progress, but, it took how long for us to have global warming? That's how long it feels here. All right. And I'm Justin, and that's me, and that's on you, AJ. Amen.
I'm real adjustable. Man, this hurts to say it because I know many people would disagree, but I am least supportive than anything, right? And I want to be, but what I feel like is, I say I'm not as supportive as any other thing is because I don't feel I'm effective when I'm trying to be supportive. And I'm always there for people. I just don't feel like the quality of me being there is like valued. Because I don't know how, so I'm very methodical and tactful with myself, with things that I come up with, things that I initiate, things that make sense to me. But when it comes to somebody else, I can't do that for them. Like, you're going to have to give me all the details of exactly what you're trying to do, and I got to make that thing mine. And so I know when I'm trying to be supportive, like, especially if I don't understand what you're doing and everything, it might seem like, dude, you do the bass, like the at least you could do this. That's what you do. And dang, that hurt me because I feel like I'm always trying to be there for everybody no matter what. But just really sitting there thinking about it. Like, I don't think it is enough if I was to judge. I don't know what anybody else would say, but if I put myself in their shoes looking at me, I would feel like, yeah, it's not enough. Or it's not, anybody could have did that. You as a boyfriend, like, that wasn't, yeah. I don't know if y'all had anything else, but we can go to, hold up, Will, let me see something. I want to say something else. I don't think I ever in my life seen a couple like y'all. Like, that is so, why you looking like that? Like us? Yeah. Oh. Like, that is so encouraging to me, and it's like you said, it's unicornish. So it's unicornish. I'm just jealous, but at the same time, it's encouraging though. Like my man said, you said y'all been together how long? He said 3 years, married for 3 years, and you said you enjoyed it the whole way through. She said their first 3 years was trash, and y'all just, I'm gonna let you say it. And y'all was just blissful the whole time, and then even you got witnesses to be like, man, y'all was meant for each other.
God rewarding him though.
Oh yeah, hold up. We're gonna break rules because I gotta hear this one. Why you say that?
Because if this Ronald, I got the privilege. This my brother. This my best friend. I got the privilege, and he younger than me. And Tamika know I look up to him. You know what I'm saying? I've looked up to him, just the individual that he is, and the relationships that he had in the past, the shit that he endured in those relationships, and still remained who he was though. Right? Never let those relationships change him. It didn't harden him. It didn't turn him into, a super gremlin. You know what I'm saying? It didn't have him to feel a certain type of way towards women or none of that. He weathered that storm of those horrible relationships. You know what I'm saying? And God rewarded him with my sister. You know what I'm saying? For his fervor, for his faithfulness, for him standing firm on what he believed in and being the individual that he is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had conversations, and I talk about, I don't believe in generational curses. I don't believe there's such thing as generational curse. I do believe in applied learned behavior though. You know what I'm saying? I think we should coin that phrase versus, letting people just rest on the fact of generational curse. Things that he's seen, the things that he's been through, he could have passed that on. You know what I'm saying? Now it becomes a learned behavior for somebody else, but he didn't. You know what I'm saying? He weathered the storm. He waited his turn. He went through those relationships, and now he got this relationship. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing like a testimony to a man's character than to have another man say, another man do it for you. So that's a beautiful thing. All right, could we go to the next one? The negative traits. This is where it might could get a little ugly. But it might not, because I know y'all two don't have no negative traits. So whichever one is you the most, you tell us and how it affects your relationship.
I actually do have a negative. And it's, I'm actually admitting it right now. And it is manipulative. Somebody else actually told me that I was, and it was, I don't know if it was my mother-in-law or my father-in-law, one of them, but they told me that. But it wasn't towards him. It was something that I did, and I was very defensive because I was like, no, I am not. Like, immediately, I'm like, no, I'm not. But when you really think about it, you gotta call a spade, So that's, that's just what it was. But, again, another thing that I am working on. So I don't like to call myself this, but it's something I'm working on. But I will say that it's like that in our relationship because going back to the taking initiative and taking lead and learning from one another, there are times when I see that he may not know any better about something, and I feel like, all right, here's my opportunity. This is my opportunity. Like, I'm going to win this. Don't get me wrong. For the most part, it works out for our good. But how I go about it, again, instead of me just going to God and allowing him to handle it, I be like, I got this. I'm going to take care of this. We're going to be just good. We're going to be just fine. And it's like, no, that's not the way. That's not the way to do it. So now I'm like, all right, Lord, let me talk to you first. I'm going to give you this burden or whatever I'm feeling, and you lead me on how to do it. So then I no longer come off manipulative. So, yeah.
This is Kendall. So for me, I picked inconsistent. And so my inconsistency comes in the form of being attentive when I want to be. And so I think, again, this comes back to my lifestyle. And again, I'm into a lot of different things, and I can be there physically, but mentally I'm somewhere else. Or I can be. It could be. I could be a different person in a new day, if that makes sense. So today I could be as somebody, and then tomorrow you get another person. And that's just because of what I have going on, or what do I want to put first. Like my days are, or my vision of my life isn't consistent. So I'm always trying to change. I'm always trying to find other ways to be better, but then I also find myself hurting the situation worse, making it worse. So that's where my inconsistency comes for my life and my relationship. You good?
How much time is that? Just to piggyback. This is Sinatra. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate all of this, It's even helping me out. But to hear him, say this as well, it helps. I don't even think I know what else to say. It helps. I appreciate hearing it.
Sure.
Let me get y'all 5 minutes.
I gave you number 3.
Oh, yeah.
You said
She said she couldn't.
She said she couldn't fit.
I couldn't pick. I cannot say I'm any of those again. I'm sorry. I cannot say any of those. I'm very consistent. I mean, AJ picked 3, and I was inconsistent. But I am very consistent in everything I do, in my business, in our relationship, supporting, leading, guiding, helping, whatever. I'm always consistent. Always. Your turn. Would you agree, husband?
This is Van. With what she said, I totally agree. Like, attentive, she gives plenty of attention. Manipulative.
Don't we know?
She's not manipulative in any way, but she'll have her way of showing me what she wants. But and not a manipulative. I'm gonna say not manipulative, but inconsistent. When it comes to somebody that I can say that's consistent, when she puts her mind to something, she literally is like, it's going straight there. Just like I watched her put together an event, just like in 2 weeks. Like literally just sit there and say. I literally sat there and watched her. She said, "All right, this is what I want to do." From that moment, I watched her literally write down everything she wanted to do, Hey babe, there's gonna be packages coming in the house. Oh, we're gonna get this. This is what do you think about this? And I'm literally sitting there just listening to her plan this. So when it comes to consistency, she has it all. Selfish, not a selfish bone in her body at all. Not a selfish bone in her body at all. Like she will give the last for anybody. Now for me, like I picked number 3. For me, when I say inconsistent, she will agree with that. It's a lot of things that I said I was going to do that I haven't really followed through with.
Mic so they can hear.
Wow. It's a lot of things that. It's a lot of things that in our relationship that I said I was going to do that I haven't followed through with yet. Major one thing is when we first met, I told her that I would take her to Jamaica, and she's still waiting for that Jamaica trip. And as far as other things, like with me, I'm a personal trainer. Outside of me working in the government as well. When it comes to following through with that, it's been a lot of inconsistencies with that with me because knowing which direction I want to go in, I'll talk myself out of a lot of things. I'll literally get to a point where like, all right, I'm gonna do this, but then I'll like, what if I did this? Or should I do it this way? The next thing you know, I look at, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna just revamp and do it over. But just watching her like do what she do and just like follow through whatever her plans, I'm just watching her and learning that, okay, if I'm gonna stick to something, I'm gonna do this and see where it's gonna get me. So that's one thing that I'm working on is being more consistent and following through.
Okay. My question is to Joaquin and Chanel. Are you a stay-at-home wife?
Yes.
For all 4 children, you were a stay-at-home wife?
They're all in school. This is the first year everybody's in school. I've been home since
I'm sorry. Okay. I was asking that because once we have our little bundle of joys, I want to be a stay-at-home mom as well. Like, I still want to do my business, but I want to be a stay-at-home mom now. So, encourage your brother over here to let that happen. Okay, Joaquin? Okay, this is Kim.
You might want to rebuttal. You want to rebuttal or you want to pass? You got 40 seconds, bro.
I've always fought against that, against her wanting to be a stay-at-home wife because of her work ethic. Like she's great when it comes to, like she has a great work ethic. She has a great work ethic. So she always keeps things in order. She always is on top of things. So yeah. No.
It's Ronald. That was good, bro. That was good. So this Ronald, I can proudly say that I am now a 3. And the reason why I say I can proudly say that, because as I stated earlier, I just recently became the husband and the man that my wife needed me and desired me to be. So probably about 4 years ago, I was all 4 of them things. So I've grown to now be able to, work on my inconsistency. And again, the inconsistency it's in the house, man. It's with the kids. And, stuff around the house. There's things that my wife knows that I'm capable of doing. And I think that maybe sometimes that might frustrate her because she know I'm capable of doing them. But I just be inconsistent in doing them. Like, I've been doing more cooking lately. And it's like, I can cook. And it's like, she like, oh, well, now all this cooking coming out, but, it's busy. I didn't even know you really knew how to cook like that. But, again, it's just, like, even with this setting that we in, man, this is just another accomplishment for us, and the growth and the development and the success of our relationship, because being all 4 of them things came with a lot of shit, and you know, I know we got a couple, you know, unicorns in here, but I gotta say, man, my wife is a real unicorn. Not to dispel, you know, anything, but and what I mean by that is that the things that we've been through in 18 years, like I don't know if we the longest that we've been. So the things that we've been through in 18 years, right? I don't know no woman that would still be sitting beside me, let alone still be married with me, married to me. You know what I'm saying? So when I say that, it's like I know true love exists, you know, and it puts me in the mindset of like my grandparents, like that throwback love where, you know, they fought through adversity, you know what I'm saying, and they dealt with and overcame. And the reason why I call my wife unicorn is my wife went through all 4 of them things, man, by herself. Cause she a private person. She not, you know, my business out in the street type of person. So the things that I put her through, you know, being not attentive enough, being manipulative, being selfish in my movement, being inconsistent, she dealt with that on her own. You know, it was her faith, you know, and then her strength and her resilience as a woman, where she saw more of me than I saw myself, that allowed her to you know, to make it, you know, for us to still be right here where we at. So.
And this is where I just didn't have a number to pick, but
You
I think
don't,
you
you
chose
don't.
something for me.
If you don't have
I mean,
you kinda just said you
yeah.
don't, right? Like,
I don't. This is Tamika.
It ain't nothing up there for you. You can put your card back.
Yeah, that's inspiring. That's really inspiring. Oh, this is Dara. I just want to say that's inspiring, seriously, like, because that's unconditional love. You know what I mean? Like, you're dope for being able to show that, because a lot of people, when they talk about unconditional love, they talk about their children, and it's like, that's clearly conditional. Me and AJ talked about that. Like, one of my homegirls said that she never felt unconditional love until she had her kid, and we're like, but it's your kid. So for it to be a man who, you know what I'm saying? Like, for it to be your husband, like, and to go through things and just be able to forgive and love anyway, like, that's amazing. But for me, at first I chose not attentive enough, but I think what I was about to do was go back into some things that I'm trying to break down, like, for real, y'all. Like, God is dealing with me, and really it's inconsistent. I mean, I'm inconsistent in my relationships because of traumas. An ex of mine did tell me that I was inconsistent, and I felt like that was like the wrong thing to describe me. Me and AJ talked about it on the podcast. He was like, wait, but you're like one of the most consistent people ever. And I'm like, see, we've never been in a romantic relationship either. And the reason why I can be inconsistent, guys, is because, and I'm praying that I'm, you know, don't like get too emotionally, you know, drained with this, but it's because you see when you're in a relationship, you do see things that might remind you of a time when you were in pain. So there were times in my relationship where I just felt like I was about to go back into a very painful space. And so I probably drew back, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all in with him, like, you know, Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, I'm like, I go into my shell because maybe he wants to do something, you know what I'm saying, that makes me freeze. And that's just me being very honest. So with me trying to break down those walls, like, you know, because I understand, like, the intimacy that I want in a marriage, I'm going to have to break down those walls. But I feel like when I was in a relationship, I kept my walls up, and I would just open a door when it was convenient for me. And that's me being straight up, right? Like, I yearn for it, but when it's in my face, when it's time to do it, I'm like, nope. Like, I'm scared because I don't know if you're going to hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen this before. I feel like we're going down the same road. I don't want to end up, you know, in pieces. I want to be in peace. So at the end of the day, though, now where I'm heading, and thank you, Sinatra, for that, like, where I'm trying to be is somebody who is able to adjust in my relationships as it pertains to if it's something that I don't understand or if it's something that makes me tense up, seeing what happens, allowing God to lead me. If I really am a woman of faith, having that faith, because even if I fall apart, then what, right? Like, God always picks me up, right? He always builds me back up. There's literally never been a time where he's just left me in despair, and you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't able to rise out of the ashes. So that literally is, you know, that negative part, because I can do all the other things. It's just that you have to literally call a thing in order to be consistent.
I got a comment on that, but I'm not gonna comment on it.
Okay.
No, Joaquin. On that list, it's probably number one. Not attentive enough. I don't have a problem being consistent. Selfish. Maybe she may say that sometimes. I don't know. I don't agree with that. Manipulative. I stopped that a long time ago. I used to be like that in scripture, right? When you're reading the word and you're like, oh man, this is it. That don't work. She doesn't get it that way. God doesn't reveal things to her like that. Like, real talk. Like, yeah, he'll download it to her whenever he downloads it to her. I just got to stay consistent, pray for her. Don't beat her over the head with it, and live out what I'm talking about. For y'all situation, man, love conquers all, right? You just got to hang in there, right? So that's a blessing, man, just to see y'all together. And that story, like, that might have to be the caption for the podcast. Either between one of them, they got, like, the thumbnail that's going to get you to click on that joint. You just got to figure out the right way to put the words. To answer Kim's question about Chanel and I, so my wife is a stay-at-home mom, and she is a successful business owner too. Yeah, and it didn't start from that, right? So like the thing that I'll say is that God had already given me the vision for how this should actually play out. Again, my wife had to get on board with what that vision was, right? So we both had careers, but I could see the kids and the job was weighing her down in that situation, right? So I said, God had already showed it to me. Quit your job. Quit your job. We gonna take a hit? Yeah, we gonna take a hit. We're gonna take a big hit. But I got faith that we're gonna be all right, right? Because my upbringing is too another thing. Like, I can have $1 million or I can have $1. I can adjust to any of that stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I was young, I went to 8 different schools. I lived in Baltimore, Dade County, Virginia. Like, we just packed up and moved. So if we ain't have nothing, we had it. So I know we would be able to bounce back. But she had stability a lot of times in her life. You know what I'm saying? Parents owned houses. She grew up in the same house her entire life and things like that. So, like, for her, I knew it was going to be, difficult. But I was like, just walk away from it. So when we had our second child, okay, she walked away from it and stayed home. Third child, yeah. Walked away from it and stayed home. And it was a blessing because our family structure needed her to be there for that. Like, we needed that stability in the home because my job would take me everywhere, anywhere. But I would say for you, you just got to be whatever works for whatever works, right? So, like, I encouraged her, hey, man, you got something with this business thing. And then so she started doing it, one client after another. And, yeah, we got to go to the CPA to see what the taxes are like because she had an awesome year this year. But those are the types of things that I'm just like, if that's your desire, right, then, like, God will reveal it to you, like, what you should do, right? Like, that's gonna be it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys already got it. Yeah, I know you're gonna trust the process, but yeah, it's thank you, Father. It's important for a woman to be with the kids when they're young, coming up, and they're training them, right? Like, literally raising younger women, training them, bringing them up. I'll just say that there's blessings that come along with that.
Chanel here. I would not pick the number for you, whatever number you said. I thought you would be 3. And then for me, I picked number 1, not being attentive enough. But while I was sitting here, selfish was like weighing in on me. And I was like, I can't be selfish anymore. Like, my childhood at home nickname was Brat. Like, that's what my stepdad would yell out when he was looking for me. He never called me by my name. He always called me Brat. And then I was like, well, am I still selfish? I was like, can't be selfish. Now all these people, I got to look out for. So it's somewhere between the 1 and the 4. I could cross the 2 out. I could cross the 3 out. I thought 4 was dead, but it's something there. But I definitely feel like I'm not attentive enough, either to myself and to him also. Like, I'll give for the girls all day. If something else needs to be done, I feel like I'm there. But, all right, 1 and 4 for me. Now, my perspective, I'm sorry, Joaquin took all the time.
17 seconds to get out.
My perspective of being home, he told me years ago, you're not going to have to work. There are people till this day that said, your husband has done everything he told you that he was going to do. And I was like, well, you've changed. And I walked away from a job. Like, it wasn't necessarily the greatest career ever, but it was stable. I was a contributor. Like, it got us things and whatever else. And I was still on maternity leave. And I was like, yeah, can we meet? I won't be coming back. And it was a big adjustment. And it was a hit because we cashed out some things and everything else because our daughters have been in private school the whole time. If they haven't been with me or my mom. My older 2 were with my mom at first, and then she was sad that she didn't have that luxury anymore, but it just worked out. And now, I guess the last 2 years, for real, I've probably really been putting into my business, definitely this year, though, and that's a whole other battle or transition. And finding what I do, I have free time now. All my girls are in school this year. This was the first year everybody's in school. So I'm figuring myself out again also. So
I would say I'm probably, this is Justin. I would say probably selfish. I want to say selfish because, one, like I said again, this is my first relationship, and my girlfriend says I use that as a crutch a lot because it's a learning curve for me. And when learning how to consider somebody else in every decision you make, what you want to eat, what you want to drink, do you have to get 2 of those? It's something that I've always had to fend for myself. So when the decision now is, do I have to get dinner for the both of us? Do I have to cook for the both of us? Do I have to get her gas? Do I have to drive, pick her up, or whatever? It's something that I'm still learning to make like an automatic thought. And I also think that because neither of my parents were together when I was growing up, they hadn't been together at all. Both of them have very selfish tendencies in different areas. And I tend to believe that I've picked up bad habits from both of their selfishness. And she's called me out on it. She says I'm selfish. Like when I buy, let's say dude wipes. I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but I bought those for me because it says dude on it. And I think, okay, this is clearly for me. I leave them in a bathroom she doesn't go in. I go in there, 3 days later, they're gone. And I like, why are all my wipes gone? And she, D-U-D, not D-O-O-D for, not D-O-O-D, D-U-D-E, dude. But yeah, it's just me trying to figure out the balance of figuring out when to say this is mine, this is for me, and then this is for us. This is not just for me.
Jelani. Oh, I'm not gonna respond. We've had this conversation. So for me, if this was the beginning of the relationship, I would have said absolutely nothing on this list. But over the course of the relationship, after going through a bunch of shenanigans and hoopla, I would say number 1, not attentive enough. So for me, I feel like I had so much attention on this relationship, and that's just, in my character, just to be attentive with people in general. And when things were coming at me left field, that slowly started to dwindle my attention to him, because I'm like, well, if you aren't very attentive in this relationship, being present in this relationship, why should I continue to pour my attentiveness into this as well? You know, we underwent couples therapy and stuff. I'm a strong believer in couples therapy. And, you know, even after going through couples therapy, still hit with shenanigans, still hit with hoopla. And so, again, my attentiveness started to go down. And I'm self-aware, so I could say, you know, if he's trying, I can start to try again as well. But I think I'm at the point with what Dara said, where it's like you don't want to get hurt again. And I'm putting up those roadblocks and I'm putting up that wall, but you know, I could try. I could do my thing. And in terms of the selfishness, it's not just, oh, putting gas in my car. Like, that's not the type of selfishness I'm talking about. The selfishness that I'm talking about is like, you know, doing something or putting yourself in my shoes before doing an action. You know, like, for instance, I won't, you know, go into the whole thing, but there has been multiple times where I just sit back and I'm like, I would have never done that, you know? And I think it's like a common courtesy thing. I think, you know, and I say that he uses this is his first relationship thing as a crutch, because I think there's just a way that you treat people with common decency. I don't think that it's just like, oh, this is my first relationship, so I'm learning and things like that. And, you know, our couples therapist, we had a woman and a man in our sessions, and the man said to him, you know, this is his first relationship, this is the growing pains and things like that. And I think he took that and ran with it. But then it's just like, okay, but you still have to make the strides to do better. And I just think that there's a common way, common decency to just treat people with respect and stuff like that. So that's where the selfishness for me comes in. It's not like the little nitty gritty things. Oh, I used your dude wipes. Oh, something like that. Like, that's not that deep to me. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think the selfishness for me is like a bigger picture thing, where it's just like, I would have never done that to break you.
How much time I got?
Don't worry about it. I wanted to rebuttal for you.
I would say that I've acknowledged my wrongdoings or my mistakes or my fuck ups or whatever you want to call it. It's that road to I wouldn't say apologizing. It's the road to getting past the mistakes that is the biggest roadblock, because you don't know you're being selfish until somebody really tells you, oh, that was selfish. Why didn't you consider, you know, how I would feel? Like, again, that's my mindset of I have to be in the headspace of considering her and considering what I'm doing and how it might affect her. I don't necessarily think, oh, I'm going to go do this and it's going to piss her off and not give a shit. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, okay, this is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It's harmless. I'm just chilling or whatever. But I didn't think to just consider her in those moments. I was just thinking, oh, it's nothing. I didn't say, oh, how would she feel? And so I'm still grappling with gauging, should I ask? Or should I just go ahead and do me? But I think the answer that I've gotten is just to pretty much just consult your partner in everything you're doing. And again, it's still selfish parts of me that don't want to consider, because like I said, both my parents had very selfish tendencies. Both of them kept things from their significant others in their relationships, and it has molded my perspective on how to treat my relationship. I think in a lot of aspects for the better, but in some aspects for the worse. I still feel like I can't fully give myself or fully give 100% all the time. Sometimes I want to just not consider, oh, what are the repercussions? I just want to do me. And it's like, I can't, because the betterment of the relationship is not just do me, it is what does doing me have to do with her.
You're welcome. Thank you. I ain't even gonna take the whole 5 minutes. To be honest with you, I think mine is inconsistent also. It sounds like the majority of men in here was like inconsistent. Now, where I'm inconsistent is considering feelings, considering women feelings, because I'm very like logical, matter of fact, like what is the truth of the matter? Like you're feeling like this, but it's stupid that you're feeling like this because it's not true or it doesn't matter. And I also struggle with that. Like I not thinking that this is something big, but to her it is. And you're like, it's not really that serious, you know? And so I know I'm inconsistent with considering they feel. Y'all go through that too or something? Yes. But yeah, but that's me. But we got you wanna do the Jubilee style? You wanna?
Yes, I think this is a good segue into
All right, so let's go. Y'all watch Jubilee channel on YouTube? Well, good, because they didn't come up with it anyway. We did. So what we're going to do here is, I'll let you.
We're going to say 4 declarative statements, and we just want you all to raise your hand if you agree with the statement. And then we'll go, or stand up. Stand up is better.
Agree with the statement, stand up.
Yeah, and then we're gonna pass the mic around to the people who stood up so you can tell why you agree with the statement. All right.
I'm ready to stand right now.
You have a question? Go ahead.
What if you don't agree with any of them?
You stay seated. Yep.
You gonna get your time to talk.
All right, so the first statement. Women require, and only stand up if you believe this, if you agree. Women require more emotion in conversation than men are willing to give. Stand up if you agree. So just so for the listeners, all the men stood except for Joaquin. All right, so we're gonna pass it. We're gonna go clockwise so that they can answer. State your name.
This is Justin. I stood the hell up. I just think because of the emotional nature of women in conversation. I hate to generalize women, but I mean, you all have a lot of hormones, a lot of estrogen that can go on, and okay, you can have a lot of hormones, a lot of estrogen that can go on, and you require an emotional response as opposed to a logical response. You want me to think about your feelings instead of the logic of the situation.
I don't have one of my exes here to talk to directly, so I agree because in my experience, I'm not going to generalize women, but in my experience, in both of my serious relationships, I guess they wanted me to feel what they was feeling, and I kept telling them, look, I get it, I understand you feel this way, but I can't sit here and like cry with you. Like I can't empathize with you. I'm not a woman, and a lot of times like I'm more stoic than anything. You know, like some things just don't bother me that much, and even if they do, I just don't show it. And that, in my relationships, that kind of really irritated them. My last ex was like, "You don't see this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I see it, but what is tripping about it going to do for me?" So I believe women do, because the question said this. I believe women do require more emotion in conversation and interaction than we are willing to give. And, because we love them, I guess we got to adjust somehow.
Yeah, I'll probably have to say the same exact thing as you just said, man. For me, I'm more of I'm Kendall. Yes, I am. So with her, she cries literally for any and everything. And so a lot of times, I just be like, yo, what are you crying for? And it'd be the smallest things that can be fixed with no problem, and it's just like this whole world breaks down. And I'm like, and she says I'm just like I'm not emotional, or like I'm too lackadaisical or whatever. Nonchalant is her word for me. So yes, I am, because it just doesn't make sense. If you can build a bridge and get over it, then do it. So yeah, that's just so yes, I do agree with the question. For her, for sure.
I have a question. Do you say that when she said that?
Yes.
This is Van, and yes, I'm going to literally. It's funny you say that. My wife is very, like, when she's happy, she's emotional. When she's sad, she's very emotional. It's just to the point, like, she's a, when I say she's a, like, she loves hard with everything she does. So when she achieves something good, it brings on tears. If she's mad, it brings on tears. And I have to be there to see these tears. And people looking at me like, why are you not reacting? I said, we go through this all the time. She knows me. She knows where I stand. She knows, she knows I'm here. I'm here. I'm right here. But it's just like, she's in a very, like, I agree, like, I totally agree with that statement. I just think.
This Ronald. My perspective is kind of different. I agree with it, but I'm gonna speak to my relationship and my marriage. My wife required more emotion and the conversations that we used to have than I was willing to give, because I was the culprit or the reason that she was emotional to begin with, right? So I wasn't willing to dig into her emotions, because I already chastised myself for whatever the reason why we was having that conversation anyway. So I wanted her to be over it the same way I was over it, because I'm the one that, it was my decision making or my actions or whatever that caused us to have that emotional conversation to begin with. I whooped myself, I kicked myself in the ass about it. But again, emotionally speaking, she's the one that was hurt by the actions and the reason for us having that emotional conversation. So for us, I definitely would say yes, I needed to be more emotional and, actually understand why she required that more emotion from me in those particular conversations.
So I have, y'all can go ahead and have a seat. Thank y'all so much. So I have a question for you, Ronald. And we can pass it around if anybody wanted to add anything or, okay. So, yeah. So I'm gonna pass it around, but what I want you to answer, because AJ, you asked this on the podcast, and I did not know how to answer him, but what he said was, then what do we do when we're the reason for your emotions? Like, how do we operate in that? So when we get back to you, I want you to tell the men how to, then if you're the cause of my pain, right? If you're the cause of the reason why I'm so emotional, how do you stand in that?
If you're the real cause.
Right.
Ronald knew he was the real cause. Some girls will hold the pain from the past and the trauma in that, or Joaquin, in that unforgiveness. It's unforgiveness. It's unforgiveness, right? And that's what allows you to stay in the trauma, right? Because what?
I think that's what we need to address.
Yes, yeah, if you really are, I respect what this man said. He said, yeah, I knew. And she looked at him and was like, yeah, you kind of right? Like, so when you know what the issue is, you know how to respond to it. If I caused you pain and I don't know I caused you pain, you got to express to me how I caused you pain so we can rip it back to see if I really even caused you pain, or you just haven't healed from some trauma that is based on unforgiveness, right? Because what a lot of women do. Why I disagree? With that, because I mean, my mother walked away from me for 20 years, and I wanted her back. So I would always sit and try to listen and try to talk, because she just wasn't here. My father raised us. It's not good for a man not to have his mother around. You know what I mean? Because you're searching on how to be loved, right? And my father grew me to be a man, and his love language is different. But I was always like, man, I wanted my mom around, things like that. So, like, if I got a chance to talk to my wife, I'm going to talk to her, I'm going to hear her. Because this is real. You don't know if she's going to be there tomorrow or not. I woke up and boom, my mom was gone. Like, it was a wrap. And you wondering, like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that memory is embedded in me. It's traumatic, but I think it calmed me down to want to say, like, I gotta sit and listen because she might not be here tomorrow, right? So, like, that's how I was sort of wired with things like that.
We got any better, y'all. This nigga here.
No, I'll say this, me and my mom, we cool now. We 20 years, God is good, man. He brought us back together and everything like that.
This is Chanel. I want to applaud you for your transparency and accountability. Like, it's refreshing to see you're being vulnerable with a bunch of people you don't even know, all of us, and I just really appreciate that. It's feeling like a safe place here. But I want to rewind to the people who were talking about, like, being hurt and getting over that hurt. So I just wrote down some things like, how long are you going to hide from love? Like, someone is willing and wants to love you. Like, how long are you going to push them away or block that out? And I had to learn that lesson myself. Like, I wasted so much time with Joaquin, and I can't even imagine where we could be now had I been more open and accepting of all of him back then. And then, like, but it made me think about me with us, though. But, like, and then I wrote, like, don't be a turtle. Like, when turtles get scared, they back up, they back away, they close up and protect themselves. So take a chance before the love that you really want passes you by, especially if it's somebody courting you and they want to be with you, before you miss that opportunity. And then you see them, you know, they're off living their best life with somebody else, and then you're always thinking about the what if, or that could have happened. Like, I don't know what I would have done had this not worked out. This wasn't even in the plan, so, like, I wouldn't be here today. But eventually I had to let that wall down. I'm more like you. I'm just gonna build my own bridge. I might whatever, but I'd be like, all right, it's still too much stuff going on. I thought you were gonna say something about me being hard or whatever.
Nah, because I know why you're hard.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? That's a different thing. You're reacting how you react. I know how that got embedded in you and where you learned it from. So, like, I can't fault you with how you act.
Smart.
No, not smart. It's just 20 years. 20 years to do that.
Yes.
20 years, and I watch your mother. Your mother hard as bricks. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Like, Mom, dudes go hard. Ain't she no?
She not the icebox with my heart.
She's soft as anything inside.
You disagree?
Yeah. Jelani, I kind of want to unpack the sentence real quick.
Okay, so first off, I didn't come up with it.
Now you put in a disclaimer. Can you read the sentence for me really quick, one more time?
The sentence was, women require more emotion in conversation than men are willing to give.
Bet. So, besides Ron here, applaud you, sir. All the other responses I heard were kind of putting the blame on the woman's emotions. And even the sentence itself, women require more emotion, right? Everybody has emotion. So the sentence didn't even have to start with women. It could have just said people require blah, 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 right? The end of the sentence is, then men are willing to give. My question is then, why aren't you willing to give it? Why aren't you willing to meet your partner? I feel in a relationship, it's 100-100. I don't agree with the 50-50 thing. You got to meet each other right there. So if she's emotional, why aren't you willing to meet where that emotion is and talk through that? Kendall, no shade. But the build a bridge was crazy. The build a bridge was crazy. Like, I feel you. I get it. Because I don't know where you came from talking about emotional creature. I think my emotion that I show a lot, or used to show, I am a work in progress, is like anger, right? So if I have to constantly tell you something, I'm going to just explode at that point. If I have to keep saying, yo, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and I done said it 15 trillion times, by the 18 trillion time, I'm spazzing on you because what aren't you getting if I already told you? So that's my emotion, right? The crying and stuff, you know I don't do that unless I'm very angry.
Or drunk.
It's a happy cry though. It's a happy cry when I'm drunk. It's a joyful cry. I love everybody. That's the drunk cry is I love everybody. So yeah, that sentence to me, and I think it kind of navigated a lot of the responses that I heard, where it's like, yeah, your emotions is this, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, damn, I ain't trying to go there with you, right? But Ron here, took accountability. Like, yo, her emotions was because you were acting out. So, boom, that accountability. I think that end of the sentence kind of triggered a lot of the, I don't want to do that because why is she even reacting this way? That's trash. You don't have the mic. You don't have the mic.
Oh, wow. Thank you. This is Sinatra. After the question was asked, I whispered to him, I said, I think you were speaking. And I said, Kendall, I'm both. I was like, logical and, there's reasons. I was like, I'm both. And he thought about it and was like, no, instantly thought about my emotions. Yes, I'm very emotional. Very. I want to clear up the bridge part, though. Not in a disrespectful way. When he does say those things, for the most part, you can't judge a book by its cover. I got a bad attitude, okay? So he know how to talk to me and how to, pick me back up, all right, sis, because I can be a little tough sometimes too, even in my emotions, so it's deserving sometimes. And then it's not about our relationship when he says that phrase. It's about my girlfriend problems or life or a job or something like that. That's when that comes into play, where it's like, bro, you gotta build a bridge and get over it. Go ahead and cry now, but that's enough. But yeah, I just feel like there's a huge difference because when it comes to our relationship, as Ron said, there's reasons behind it. That's when I appreciate the emotion coming out of it. Show me that you care. Show me that, all right, what I did affected her. What I did, oh goodness, let me not ever do that again. Or let me tell her something. But when you don't say anything at all, then it comes off as nonchalant. And now, yes, I'm crying. I'm feeling something. And if anything, I'm a Cancer. The tears come from frustration, not from sadness. It's frustration because what I did to you in my head is making me mad. Real talk, But, yeah.
This is Kim. I agree with Sinatra. Frank Sinatra. And G. I'm not emotional because I'm sad. I'm emotional because I'd be overwhelmed, very excited, eager to get something out. And I am a bubbly person all the time. And I used to get, I'm going to say, crucified for being bubbly. I fought people because I was too happy. I'm just I'm really fighting people because I'm too happy. And so my husband stood up, but I don't know why he stood up because he's emotionally there for me. All the time he's emotionally there for me, even with talking. I'm about to get emotional now just because I'm excited, I'm happy, but you're always there for me. In my emotional state, in my happy state, in my frustration state, in my angry state.
Steph Curry with this.
I mean, from day one, though, and I think that's because he was raised by women, his grandma and his mom. Even though you're going to do what I say when I say you're going to do, they're still emotional. They love me from day one. I love them from day one. And I'm a people person, and I love, like he said, I love with all my heart. And if you're not receiving my love the way I'm giving it, yes, that does hurt. But it hurts in a way that, dang, thing, B. Like, I'm giving you all of me, and you just like, how you doing? What the? Like, it's that. But again, Van is there for me emotionally when I'm happy. Even when I'm slain in the spirit at church, I'm on the ground. My husband, he's videotaping. Like, have your way, Lord, have your way. Now I gotta go to the next person. But he's there for me. Like, I don't see it until we watch the playback or something. But I'm like, you better work that camera on your wife or whatever. You know, like, even when I'm a dancer in church as well, I can get slain with the words being that, you know, we're ministering or something. Like, I'm a very emotional person, but that just thinks of the goodness that God has done or brought us through. And like Ronald said, Van has been through a lot. Mm-hmm. Can I share the before us part?
Afterwards.
No?
Afterwards.
My time out? Okay. So.
Pass it to me.
Oh, you didn't stand up.
She ain't standing
You
up.
didn't stand up.
You ain't standing up. Was that for the men or that was for everybody? Oh yeah, you ain't standing up.
The conundrum. If she you made her win with your response.
I think part of my what? Tamika. I think. Hold on, I almost lost the statement. Definitely, there was because he initiated. And I'm like, dude, we only argue because of this. Literally, if it wasn't him drunk, we didn't have an argument. Or, you know, he was home. Or I definitely believe that you should have relationships, meaning, you know, friendships and things like that. I was never one of them cling, always want to know who you are type of persons. But definitely, I do appreciate. And again, I'm still like, wow. So.
You deserve that, Charles.
All right, man. I don't even want to end it here, but as we have to wrap it up. I did want to say though, just to kind of like pull this in a twist tie. The reason why I want to say, Van, that it seemed like you disagree, but you actually. It seemed like you agree, but you actually disagree. Is because we talked about this on the podcast, and I was just saying it was a viral video. I think you saw it, Sinatra, where I talked about just holding the space, because a lot of times you don't have to be emotional with your woman. Sometimes you just need to hold the space, and holding the space doesn't mean that you have to cry with her. Like Van said, I can't get super high with you because that's not your nature. You say, wow, that's it. Like, Van will say, wow. Like, that's Van's emotion. Like, he's not giving you any more, he's not giving you any less. But that's good, though, because what it does is it allows, like, he has a reaction, but it's not as big as Kim's. And could you imagine both of them being as big as Kim? It's not going to work. There's no room. There's no room. But the point that I'm making is, and that's why I'm grateful that you guys did agree and disagree, is just that, like, it's possible for them both to exist. Yeah. And what you want to do when you go home tonight, you guys are fine. You guys are unicorns on this team. What you want to do when you go home tonight is you just want to remember that you have to hold the space for the woman, not necessarily be emotional. Like, nobody's asking you to be emotional. What we're asking is, hear me out. Because I have something to say about my emotions. I understand that you're not that way. Yeah. I understand that you're not an emotional man. Yeah. But I have something to say. I'm hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I have pain. I'm whatever. And like you said, Joaquin, we also as women have to learn how to translate it, how to give it. Whereas it's like, I don't really need your advice. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen to me. And that's what we can say, because a lot of times we be thinking they mind readers, and they're just not. Like, they don't get paid for it. They can't do it. We can't even read our own minds sometimes. So I just want to thank you all again for coming out. Before we leave, well, it wasn't a woman's side because I said both, but it doesn't. Again, thank you guys for coming out. What we do before we leave is we always try to come up with a next date. We decided that we were going to do this on a monthly basis. We know that you all have children. We know that you all have other obligations. So what we want to do is just come up with the next date. If you guys want to do another one, I feel like this was pretty successful. Do y'all feel like y'all had a pretty good time? All right. So before we leave, we'll do that. And did you want to?
Yeah, but you go ahead. You just said you gave Mo. I don't think so, but.
Okay, well,
Nah, we can pick that back up.
yeah. So on the next time that we have our discussion, then we'll pick up on whatever AJ has to say. I hope he writes it down.
It's gonna be the clip for the next one.
Yeah, that's cool. So thank you all for coming. Anybody have anything they want to add or? All right, cool. So I'll extend the same thing that we did last time. You guys can contact myself or AJ if you have any suggestions, anything that you want to add, anything that you remember that you want us to bring up in the next session, and we'll go from there.
I do have something to add. For those who are still haven't had the 15, 18 years in those. For me, I stuck in it because,
Ooh, that was a question I had for you too. Thank you. Look at God.
I wanted to make sure I checked all the boxes, meaning that I put all of my efforts into this marriage, although there were obstacles, because they're going to be. So for me, I wanted to make sure if I walked away, although I had 2 kids, that I can say, I did this. There was no what if. So although I went through what I went through, I want to make sure in my heart that I did all that I can do. Because I believe in, what I had to. We said in front of everybody, witness, through sick health, through everything. So that's I think it lasts. And I almost was like, yo, I'm done. But that's how it, I guess, kept as long as it did. So that was...
We can wrap it up on that note. Thank y'all so much.